Okay. So tonight, what I want to do is basically review things, but with a specific focus in mind of moving the capo around as if you're going to play in a otherwise capo position from how you might play the song typically. So I mentioned at the top CAGED, the caged. It's a system, and if you Google it or go to YouTube, you can find a lot of explanations of how the system works in terms of understanding the fretboard. I am not the guy to help with that part. I use it just in terms of the order of keys as they go up the neck. For example, if we're playing Making Believe in the key of C, if we put the capo on at the third fret, you're playing out of A shape. So C A. The next capo position will put you in G shape. C A G. The next one would be in E. The one after that would be in D. C A G E D is the sequence of key letters that go up. I use that to determine if I'm playing out of C and I want to put the capo on. I know that the next one up is going to be an A. It's going to be out of A shape. It's really simple, and it's comically simple considering how important and useful the cage system is to people who really want to understand the guitar neck. And as I said, that's not me. But that's what I use it for. But I mention it just because I'm a guitar teacher, and they're always supposed to talk about the cage system. So that's my TED talk on the cage system. CAGED is the sequence, which means that if we're doing All I Ever Loved Was You, the next one up would be E shape. The next one up from there would be D shape, ED, and then CA. Again, the sequence just repeats after you get to cage. So that's all I can tell you.
So when you say the next one up, are you saying that we can use the C chord positions, but when we move the capo up, we're just playing in a different key that moves in the sequence of caged?
Yeah, if I understand you correctly, it's if you're playing in the key of C.
Yeah.
The next shape position that you play out of is A, C A.
Okay.
And then the next one would be G. Then the next
Right.
one would be E. And you move the capo up to accommodate playing those shapes. And I'm sort of making fun of how simple that is, but it does help if you're quickly trying to figure out, where could I put the capo? You go, well, I'm playing in C, so the next one up would be A or G. And so it kind of helps you get oriented that way towards where to put the capo. So, but I want to talk for a minute about, I'm going to get it off my face here and onto the guitar. Let's see if I can get this a little better positioned. And go over some right hand stuff. I've been mentioning it as we go. But I want to just kind of review it tonight to have it fresh. Now we've been using, let me aim that a little bit, there we go. We've been using the boom chuck with the alternating bass, of course. And that's very simple to do unless you're completely unfamiliar with a pick. But there are nuances to that are really good to try to work on. The fact that doing all this, you have to split your attention between remembering the chord sequence, remembering the words, figuring out where you can put walk-ups and walk-downs. All those things are there, but also how you basically do the boom chuck, meaning how how cleanly the bass notes happen, and how articulated the whole thing is. In other words, you can play it kind of sloppy, or you can really articulate the bass notes. There's not a correct way to do it. It's just you want to have that under your control. And I notice in jams very often, people that actually play pretty well, their basic boom chuck is pretty sloppy, and it doesn't give them much of an option in terms of the clarity of the guitar's voice, whether they can distinguish between making just a bass note and then a slight backbeat, or a strong bass note and a strong backbeat. People tend to do one or the other. It's always too strong, or it's kind of on the wimpy side in terms of the bass note. It's good to be able to get a very definite, clear bass note, meaning more force on the boom part of the boom chuck and less force on the chuck part, because that's going to be the most common way that you put some variety into your right hand stuff. And I would vote for aiming first for a very clear, definite, strong bass note, and then you can back off. But the thing that most people don't get together is really how to make that bass note bark a little bit, how to really get some force in there. The rest stroke that I mentioned before, where you're pushing through the string and landing on the next string down, when you can, meaning if there's time enough, with the strum you have, that's probably the cleanest and strongest way, with the idea in mind that you're pushing down into the guitar through the string at like a 45-degree angle, not perpendicular to the string, but pushing down. Think of pushing the energy into the body of the guitar, and you can do it too strongly pretty easily. But you can back off. I keep mentioning that because that's the way through it. If you're trying to learn to play more cleanly and use the bass notes as something more definite and articulate, and you'll notice how your playing starts to feel more controlled when you're choosing what to do with the bass notes. A good way to practice that is to do each verse, do it slightly differently. Intentionally change up what you're doing with your right hand. Less bass note, less walk ups and walk downs, stronger bass note, or even do it all even, and just try to control it a little bit. One of the hardest things to do with a boom chuck in the right hand is to get a comfortable but gentle chuck part of the boom chuck. In other words, these 3 strings or 4 strings, getting to where whatever else you're doing with your bass, the chuck part is controllable. You'll have a difference between the force of the bass note and the chuck very often. Often within a couple seconds, that will change around. And it's just a way of getting more control, being aware that, oh, I could do that. I could add a more, excuse me. I could add a more definite distinction between the boom chuck and keeping in mind that you don't even have to always play the chuck. that's a nice way to clean it up even further. Just think about the bass notes and think about the melody that you're creating. All I ever loved was you. You broke a heart that cried for you. Try playing it that way and just emphasize the bass notes. Then when you put the chuck in, they'll be incidental. There'll be accents. There'll be something that you've dropped in because there's a space, and it'll kind of put the cart and the horse in the right order, because you're really leading with the bass notes in this style. So it's often kind of a hard thing to get used to. But once you do, you'll realize, oh, I've got more control. I'm thinking of what I could do down here. And that includes where on the string you decide to strum. Very often with a walk up and walk down, you'll want to be down near the saddle because it's a sharper. Up here, it's a softer tone. So being aware of where your right hand is in relation to the saddle is another thing to add to your concerns. Since this is, otherwise it'll be too easy. You'll get bored too quickly because it's all too easy. So anyways, those are the things to keep in mind. Give yourself the variety of that, and play the song. Learn the song. Learn to use what you're doing on the guitar to back yourself up. Even if you're not crazy about the song or you're not comfortable yet doing it, think of it as backup. And it's how I do it. That's the best way I can say it. I'm leading with my voice. I'm singing the song and I'm playing the guitar behind my singing. You can tell when somebody's doing that. Versus playing the guitar and then trying to lay the vocal over what they're doing on the guitar. And very good players often don't lead with their singing. And it's a shame because I think once you start to do that, what you choose to do, moving around on the guitar will fall in place with the meaning of the song, with the meaning of the melody. Yeah. And again, try always to use the thickest pick that you can. You might experiment with picks sometime if you're feeling like you're kind of bored with your sound. Look around for picks that are good. I use these what are they called? Clayton picks, and they're 1.20. You can get them online. I think I got mine at Sweetwater is a company that sells musical stuff, or Amazon. You can get them on Amazon. Buy a package of 12 and they'll last you forever. I keep around, I just happen to have one here. I keep around some wet, dry sandpaper, a very fine sandpaper. And with a plastic pick, it sometimes helps to sand down the edge a little bit. Get it a little smoother. Make sure that it's a really smooth edge on your pick, especially the new plastic ones. They've been stamped out and they're kind of rough. So it's good to. I actually keep it in my guitar case, so I can if the plastic pick gets messed up, I can gently file it down. And then my last. Suggestion is, if you are interested and you get into picks and become a pick nerd like me, these blue chip brand picks, you can buy them online. They're about $35 or so, which sounds like a tremendous amount of money. But considering what you paid for the guitar, I'd say it's like 2 or 3 sets of strings, and you get a pick that will last virtually forever. This is some space age polymer or something. And I've had this for 7 years, and it's hardly worn at all. And it's got a great tone. Not all picks will sound the same, and it's good to mess around with them. I got 2 or 3 different kinds that I like, but this happens to be the best. Part of the reason is the tone is, I hear the string more than the pick. That's the thing to listen for with your guitar picks. How much string versus pick are you hearing? And with these, I'm hearing more string sound, and I like that. You can get them in different thicknesses. The one that I use is the 60. It's called a TAD 60, which means it's a large one. All the corners are the same, big triangle shape. And the 60 is a certain thickness. It's about 1.3 or so thick. You might try something like a 40 or something if you decide to get into the blue chip world. So it's not quite so thick, but they're definitely stiff. I play very hard, and a 60 works well for me. Yeah, that's my my thoughts. It's the thing that I see most with guitar players in jams, where I see most people, is the guitars are kind of indifferent. They're not choosing what to do very much. They're just kind of going through the chord changes. And there are so many nuances you can do when you're strumming, that keep it interesting. If you happen to just be strumming along with something, you can shoot. This is worn out. Why am I using that one? If you're not doing very much that's interesting, you can add interest. You can vary your playing. These are things that you already know, but I think of this a lot while I'm in a jam and I'm a little bored with what's going on. I just work on my right hand, or I work on my tone. And those are always things that the more control you get, the more like a real guitar player you feel. It amazes me because I'm not a fancy player. I'm really not that good in a way. But what I do very well, and I do just enough to be able to sing and play. And that's as far as you need to get, really, I think. So, anyways, that's about the right hand stuff. Let's go through where let me aim this back down. We're familiar with the All I Ever Loved Was You out of G shape. Ever loved was you. You broke a heart that cried for you. I wasted all my tears on you. For all I ever loved was you. Now, if we capo on 3, we have a different set of options for what the bass notes will do. And it's good to mess around with it. And to play out of different chord shapes often enough that if you decide to change your chord shape, the walks will be familiar enough. Like in this one, all I ever loved was you. All of a sudden we're playing E, A, and B7. All I ever loved was you. Walking to B7. You broke a heart that cried for you. I've wasted all my tears on you. That 2nd and 4th fret. For all I ever loved was you. You got different moves to make, and they will sound different. It's especially important playing with anybody else. I mean, I say this, I generally play out of G if I can. I'm lazy that way. But every so often, especially with other guitarists around, to be in a different shape just opens it up. The whole sound is different, and the walks you get to do really can change it. If you capo on 5, be walking down to A, up to G, back to D. You can hear how different that sounds. So I realize I'm just kind of rushing through this, but with each of these keys, you get a very different thing. All I ever loved was you. You broke a heart that cried for you. I've wasted all my tears on you. For all I ever loved was you. And then, depends on your guitar and your capo, how far you can go with this. Again, these yoke shapes are very forgiving. So if you capo up to 7, you can be in C shape. All I ever walked down to G, loved was you. You broke a heart, F down to C. I'm wasted, I'll C up to F. My tears on you. All I ever loved was you. And you'll think of different things. I mean, that's when you start doing the walks in different shapes, in different situations, I think that's one of the things that I'm promoting by going through it this way, is to break it up a little bit. Because when I do that, I start thinking of options. I start thinking of other ways to do the walks, or other ways to just add my voice to the mix. Yeah, I won't bother to go up to the 10th fret. I just put it in there out of to be complete about it. But I Can't Stop Loving You, you're down here with the 2nd and 4th fret move. I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind, right? And then down to E, to live in memory of old lonesome time, which is really nice. You're on those bass notes. You can really ride those bass notes. It's often a choice for me when a song is in A. If I want to really lead with the bass notes, I'll stay down in first position. If there's something else I want to do, like play any kind of lead, then I'll go to where I can be in G. I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind to live in memory of old lonesome time. And then if you capo on 5, that choice to play out of E shape, remember when we were doing Blues Stay Away From Me, E is a really good key shape for that rhythmic thing. That bluesier sound. So thinking of it as adding vocabulary to what you play, even if it's in a key that you're very familiar with in first position. Um, um, any questions so far? Any thoughts about this? You see what I'm getting at is to vary what you do. And I'm mentioning it because I'm lazy. I'll play the same chord shapes all the time. I'll go to the same positions every time. Except when I do it differently, it opens things up and it makes me more aware. Especially one of the things that makes me aware of when I'm capoed further up the neck. Um, the feel of the right hand becomes different. The string tension changes. The the whole feel of the guitar is different. And when I'm making the bass notes kind of sing, I can really feel it when I'm capoed up. So I'm encouraging you, use the capo, go up the neck, let your guitar sing in those um, uh, what do they call it, the choker, where you kind of choking the strings up. It'll be a different feel, and it will help your guitar. It will open up your guitar to play in those other shapes further up the neck. I couldn't believe it when I started to use the capo more. My guitar was probably 5 or 6 years old. I bought it new, and within about 6 months, it just began to sing. It had a very different feel and a more responsive and a better tone. And so, unless you happen to have a vintage guitar that's very dry and very broken in, you'll notice a difference. You really will notice a difference. Um, there's a bias um, in bluegrass circles. There's a lot of biases in bluegrass circles, but one of them is you should always play out of G or C and capo to where you can play out of G or C. And yeah, maybe, but most of the time it doesn't really matter that much. And if you can add something different, any other kind of music, especially if you can add something different, um, it'll help. It'll be a nice thing to do. Um, the I think, yeah, on Remember Me, I sent you that video of Lucy and me playing in the cafe, and she's playing down here in first position. I'm capoed way up here, playing out of G shape. And if you watch that, you can see how how I'm using the that little vocal, I think of it as a vocal part, has such a different tone than what Lucy's playing down low and what Art's playing on the mandolin. So to exploit what the guitar can do, especially out of a really comfortable chord shape like G, um, again, it sounds funny, but you really feel like you're playing the guitar when you've got choices to make that add something more than just strumming. And the simplest walks in a different capo position can really bring a sound out that is encouraging to your playing. Um, so, um, what I would probably think of in terms of choosing these capo positions is what's the highest that I can go in relation to everybody else. That's usually the choice to make. Um, just so that you're actually playing with a different voice, and when you're strumming, the whole instrument sounds like a you know an, like a mandolin or something. You've got a different timbre going on, and you're um, contributing a different sound to the room. it's hard when you're playing alone to get the sense of all this. That's why I'm kind of belaboring the idea of playing with other people, because that's really where these things come out. And you begin to feel like it's really useful. But it is useful to get used to sussing out, okay, what's the walk that I would do there? I know the A-shaped walk down here for a song or two. What if I threw an A-shaped walk up here? What would it do? How would it feel? Um, um, uh, Blues stay away from me because that's kind of that's the bluesy one. That's the one where that rhythm. Now I would probably not choose to capo it on 2 and play it out of D, because you've got that kind of you've got that tiny footprint of the D shape there, because of course the part that you are the part that you're kind of damping is just what's under your fingers, so you don't have as much. Probably for that, I would go to 4 and play out of C shape if I wanted to do something different. Then you got all the fingers on the strings. And that's a good option. That's a good thing to think of. C is a good one because you can vary that damping sound. Also, C is a good key to get friendly with, because as you start to play any kind of lead, C is a very forgiving shape. I mentioned before that Mother Maybelle Carter plays out of C. If you can find videos of her actually playing, you can see what she's doing. There's a lot of melodic stuff that's very easy under the C shape. I'm just beginning to really do that. I decided a couple years during COVID, I'm going to start playing out of C, and I'm really glad that I did, because if a song is an E, for example, and I'm trying to take a break, E is a very hard key to take a break out of. C is much easier. You can just basically hold the chord, and there's a lot of good notes to hit, and finding the least bit of melodic territory there opens up. It opens up more easily out of C shape. So each key shape has its advantages, is I think what I'm saying. The other, if it's a blues song, then capoing up on 9 would be another good option. Can't count to 9. A little out of tune, but you can damp it, and you got that really high timbre to work with. With Making Believe, the choices are, I want to say, word lyrical comes to mind, and it's not lyrical. It's just the moves that you're playing. The melody of the song has a real nice, gentle shape to it, and it's kind of a slow song. And the things that you can do out of C shape are very nice. being down low on the guitar, that it's going to sound very rich and full.
Richard, could you slow down for a second? Like with that introduction you did was really pretty. The kind
Oh,
of you were doing some melodic stuff with the
yeah,
C.
yeah. I'm sorry.
What was
I was
that?
I was just kind of emphasizing what you can play out of C shape. They can believe. I wasn't even aiming for a particular string. I was just aware that by moving the second finger, when you're trying to take a break, a nice technique to do is just hold the chord. Don't try to do anything. Don't, just hit a different note. See what I'm doing? I'm not doing anything really. I'm just hitting a different string on each of the beats that I want to emphasize. And that's really a good way to begin to think of what can I do if I'm playing out of C. So begins on the A string, goes to the D, then up to the G. It's just a scale-wise movement down from F to C that begins to sound like something. It begins to be shaped like a melody. That's what I'm learning these days. You can fake your way through the melody if you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 of the scale. That'll take you a long way. The things that I do in G. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the scale. Once you get the 1, 2, 3, 4 of the scale under your fingers, you can begin to aim at the melodies. One, two, three, 4, and 4 is a partial C shape. And this is just how to get your foot in the door about beginning to play something melodic. Find out of C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So many melodies will center around that beginning of the scale there. A lot of these. And that's where it opens up. It starts to be, oh, I can do that. I know that walk. So there must be something I can do to kind of find a scale or finding a shape of a melody in there. I don't really have any definitive technical tricks for playing leads. I'm a reluctant lead player that I started playing so that I could lead in jams and figure out melodies to play in jams. And I aim for the melody. I'm not a riff player. Play the melody. The melody is what the song is, you know. So try to state the melody in some way, even if it's just a single note. It doesn't have to be something fancy.
Mm-hmm.
That'll get you going. Very little finger action. So playing out of C shape, your best friend is that second finger. Wherever the second finger is there, it's going to have some action. You can hammer on, you can go between chords. Tricks like that. I'm almost embarrassed to say there's like no real technique to it. It's just this is a comfortable thing to do that will open up melodic ideas.
Yeah.
And aiming the pick for that. And actually, I just was realizing you can hit 2 or 3 strings at a time and it sounds nice. All I'm doing is moving this finger around and then playing the C and the F chord. So it's not that mysterious, really, how to begin to think out of the box and add a little bit more to the your accompaniment.
Can we play through that whole song? I really enjoyed that song, the Making Believe song.
Making Believe. Oh, sure, yeah. Sure.
I kind of enjoy watching you play it and then sort of singing along
Sure.
when we're
No, that's good. Yeah.
That's great because I missed the lesson. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So
Good. Well, let's focus on that for a minute. Yeah.
And I like it in C. Yeah, the Emmy Lou recording was really nice. I
Yeah,
like what you
gorgeous.
suggested too about
Yeah.
going up a notch. At
Yeah.
the third verse was
Yeah.
really pretty.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Okay. A C to C walk is a good thing to have in your. So it's A string. Sorry. E string, open, 2nd fret, A string, back to your C. That's the thing I mentioned. It's like a Jimmy Rogers thing. I'm going to California where they sleep out every night. That little thing. It's in so many country songs, and it's a good thing to.
can you,
Sing
I'm
it a
sorry,
little bit more slowly.
can you please talk about the C to C walk? Like really pretend that like my IQ is 35 and I am hard of hearing, and then
I
we'll
think I got it.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that,
string number and fret would help for each note.
okay.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I will do that.
thank you.
Okay, so C to C walk.
Yes.
So A string, E string, open A, 2nd fret of the A string, grab your C chord with your destination note under your pinky. Open A, 2nd fret on the A.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
And how I would use that basically at the beginning of the song is right in the first line. Making believe. And then the first walk is that 2nd finger out of C shape up to the F chord. Then the 2nd finger again on the 2nd fret of the D string, open, C. I'll do that again a few times. Making 2nd fret believe, then the 2nd finger again, up to the F chord, 2nd fret, open. Making believe, up to F, back down to C. Nice to practice that F to C. 2nd finger is the key. So to start from the beginning, making believe up to F, back down to C, that you still love me. Now we're going to walk down to G. It's third fret rather. It's second fret, leaving G chord, me. So again, it's under the pinky, leave under the second finger, then me, G chord. I'll do it a couple more times. It's leaving me. It's leaving me. Up to C, alone and so blue. So all the real action is on the second finger, on the A string and the D string. Down to G chord, and then back up to C. Open second fret, C. Same thing again. Open second fret, C, up to F, back down to C, then down to G. Back up to C, making believe. And then on the bridge, it's C down to G, back up to C, over and over again. Can't hold you close, up to C, when you're not with me. You're somebody's love, just C to G, back to C, you'll never be mine. Then back to the top, making believe, then up to F, back down to C, I'll spend my lifetime. Down to G, loving you and making believe. Now I'll play it without talking, and I'll get my finger right close to the camera. G, up to C, same thing again. C, down to G, back up to C, same thing again. Up to C, and then from the top again. So, as you see, most of the real action is what the second finger up to F, down to C, down to G. So everything kind of happens. The second finger is leading all those walks. I think I probably mentioned with this move from C to F, the index finger stays in place. It's a pivot. All that changes between the C and the F chord is these three fingers move over one set. And instead of playing all 6 strings, you only play the middle 4 strings. I'm not barring the top strings. I could, but my fingers don't want to do that. So I don't make them do that. So when I play the F chord, I'm really just playing the middle 4 strings. That's part of the technical aspect of it, is whenever the left hand is making that F chord, the right hand is staying in this reduced territory of the 4 strings in the middle. Unless you're comfortable barring. If you can bar that top fret, do. And if you can really lay in a whole good F bar comfortably, good. But this is actually a very quick move to make, just by moving these 3 fingers over. And if you're playing with any speed or any regularity, the more relaxed your hand can be, the much better it will be for you. I still have trouble playing out of C shape because my hand just does not want to play C and F over and over and over again. I'm very comfortable with G, C, and D, but C and F, I get tired. Just making that shape feels different and uncomfortable. But making it as relaxed and easy as possible really will go a long way. So, any questions about those moves with making believe?
Nope.
Okay.
It's just nice to hear it sung. You know, I wasn't familiar with the song, but I really liked it.
Yeah. Well, I'll go through it one more time. Making believe that you still love me. It's leaving me alone and so blue. Still I'll always dream I'll never own you. Making believe is all I can do. Can't hold you close when you're not with me. You're somebody's love. You'll never be mine. Making believe I'll spend my lifetime loving you. Making believe, making believe I never lost you. Still my happy eyes I find are so few. My plans for the future will never come true. Making believe, what else can I do? Can't hold you close when you're not with me. You're somebody's love. You'll never be mine. Making believe I'll spend my lifetime I showed last week, that G7. Can't hold you close, G7 here, with the ring finger on the D string at the 3rd fret. So you're moving the ring finger off of this part of the G shape over to the 3rd fret on the D string. It's a really pretty voicing of the G7, different from this one, where that 7th note is up at the top. This is right in the middle. And a great advantage of this is when you're going from G to C, you've got 2 options. One is you can walk down from this 7th note. Walk down the D string to the 2nd fret, open, back to your C chord. I'll do it again. G, G7 on the 3rd fret, open, D string, 2nd fret. Do that again. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, C. Now do it again a slightly different way. From the G, G7. Walk up to C. Walk up, so you're at G to G7, then walk up the A string. I'll do it both ways now. G, walk down to C. G, G7, up to C. Down to C. Up to C. So that's a nice move to make, working around C and G, to throw that 7 in there and go up or down. And that with that song too, that's a really nice melodic guitar part to put in under the voice, especially that making believe, where the guitar is rising and the voice is descending. It's really pretty, and that's a really good way to use the available walks, and to really emphasize them. One thing I was just realizing, what I do with the G7, I kind of lay it in. When I'm playing the G7 chord, I do it differently. So you're G, boom chuck, and then walk. So it's like a really distinguishing a kind of a stroke across the strings, and then a clean, simple walk. That's the kind of thing I was talking about with the right hand stuff, to get varying things that you do, so you're not doing the same kind of right hand stuff all the time. So how are you doing? Any questions? What questions have you?
I'm glad I'm a decent singer, so I don't have to actually know how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, It's backup. Backup for sure. I mean, that was the thing that got me going. I started going out to jams and meeting people to play with. I could sing okay. And if you get that out front, most people don't consider themselves singers. So if you can sing a little bit, that'll get you a long way.
I can't do either very well.
I'm not
But I like doing them.
transcribing songs on the fly. I'm telling you, the capo is my friend, so I don't have to change my chord shapes.
Yeah, well, don't, really. I've taught at music camps with very good guitarists who, I can understand the discipline but, you know, I mean, I'm not 20 years old anymore. I don't have 15 years to get this
Exactly.
together. The easiest way you can do it, that's the best way.
I really want to learn to do better job rhythmically. Like I can't string mute, but I know what I need to learn to do now. And
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just gonna have to try it, 5 million times to get that because I want to add a little more rhythm to my guitar playing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that damping,
Yeah,
that stuff really.
I don't think my hand works that way.
Well, all you're doing is pressing on the strings enough at first, and then just enough so that the tone is damped. So it's just lifting enough that you can still feel the vibration under your fingertips.
But you've got to cover the rest of the strings, and that's what I'm not.
Yeah, and you can only really do it on the strings that your fingers are on. So that's kind of the trick. Easy
Oh,
to see.
okay.
So the
Oh, well,
G,
that helps. Okay.
all that you can do are these three strings.
Mhm.
So it's
I thought you were moving your hand to dampen everything in between.
depending on the chord.
Okay.
With a G chord, yes, you can lay your whole fingers across the. And C chord, same thing. I'm really just kind of flapping my whole hand across the. So I've got all the strings, and that's nice. But A. A is hard. What I try to do is make a distinction between the bass note and then the dampened voicing of the chord. But much easier at a C. Yeah. And that's a nice it's a nice thing to be able to do. It just adds a little bit of a,
Sure.
you know. And again, I keep saying it, and it's kind of funny, but it's really true. It sounds like you know what you're doing when you can
Yeah.
vary up the rhythm a little bit. People hear it, other players hear it and go, "Oh, he's got the groove going on," and anything that gives you confidence is a good move
Yeah.
to practice for sure. So, just to let you all know, as a cottage industrialist that I am, I will be teaching the same course again next time around. So it begins, I think the 7th, and then the 9th in person. So, and I mention this because people have taken the course a few times. After a couple times, this really starts to make sense. So just to let you know, I'll be doing
Okay.
it again, and I would welcome seeing you again. It's been nice to
Well,
work with
thank
both
you
of you.
so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I feel like I have quite a bit to work on over the next few months, actually.
Good, good.
And Richard, the Thursday class, that one's hard for me to make, but I'd
Yeah,
really enjoy playing with other people.
yeah.
But are the people who show up for that one more advanced? I mean, I don't necessarily care. I play okay in a group.
Just like this. Yeah,
Mhm.
really, very much like this. Most people can like change chords and they can play a few songs simply, um,
Mhm.
but it's not more advanced. There's no real pressure. And what I'm doing in the class is kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just showing you how it goes. Don't expect you to get it. It's just let me show you, and then you can go over it later. But the advantage in class is I can watch your hands, listen to you, talk to you
Mhm.
directly. But it'll be happening Thursday nights again if that's a challenge for your work schedule. Um,
It's a challenge for my kids' schedule to make
Ah, okay.
make the kids dinner and that yeah, it's right at dinner hour. So,
Oh,
but
yeah,
maybe
sure.
I can figure it out. It would be nice to just be like play these songs with people because that's kind of
Yeah.
the campfire guitar thing that I love, just being able to
Well,
play a 145 song with
come
others.
to the jams, you know.
Mhm.
Actually, this coming Sunday at the Freight, from 3 to 5 is the
Okay.
Bluegrass and Country Jam,
Ooh.
and come to that. There's no pressure. I won't, I'll ask you if you want to do a song. If you don't want to do it, no big deal. Everybody is kind of at the same level, really. It's to get people playing, and most people kind of can play a little bit, but really have to be encouraged to sing a song, you know. And they're better players too, but mostly this is a beginning to intermediate jam, and
Nice.
it's slow, and we'll
Oh,
do
good.
songs like we've been doing here.
Oh,
Um,
I love that.
yeah.
Sunday 3 to 5 at the Freight.
Yeah, this coming
Okay.
Sunday,
Is it like upstairs in one of the classrooms?
upstairs, yeah, in room
Okay.
210, the end of the
Okay.
hall. Yeah, just go on the Freight site and you can reserve, you can check in.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Jennifer, I hope you come too. It'd be nice to meet you in person.
I will be in Michigan trying to not catch COVID, but thank
Michigan.
you very much.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Please do. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
it
thank
was
you all.
nice,
All right.
nice,
Thanks, Richard.
Jennifer, meeting
See you
you, and
later.
Yeah,
Nice to
we
meet
love
you.
you around.
Bye.
Thank you,
sure.
Richard.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.